If you'd have said to me, as I was staring slack-jawed at someone else playing the Golden Axe cabinet in 1989, that in 35 years this format would still be around, I would have said, don't approach kids unattended in the arcade. I am Couch Coop. What was that? We may have had one of the best, certainly 9th generation, beat-em-up local co-op games drop in 2025, right at the end of the year. The game is called Absolum, and again, we have it from Dotemu, but this is Guard Crush and Supamonks. Cosmic Invasion was from Tribute, but all under the same publisher, including Shredder's Revenge, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Kinetic gear!
As you might be able to tell, Absolum is kind of a different kettle of fish to those aforementioned games. Straight up, we have a much crisper art style. I would call this modern indie, but it looks just as good as any other side-scroller. Or, and here's a key word here, roguelike. This does have some elements. You do runs and uncover a map. This is not start from level 2, user continue. Only strictly sporting 2 local co-op players, but you can go online. This also retails brand new at about 19 quid, $25, so really great value for money and really great visuals against the other games that are released under that publisher. Marvel vs. Capcom Cosmic Invasion has just been reviewed by myself. Please see previous video, that's not its full title. This is a multi-laned beat-em-up at heart, but it comes with some very cool ideas with the control mechanisms. You can actually double tap up or down to change lanes, essentially get out of the way of something that's linear and coming in your direction. You also have a very solid guard on circle, and there's a parry deflex system, so if you've got your eye on things, you can certainly get massive gaps in the enemies to deliver punishment and not take any hits yourself. So it borrows some of the techniques we see in third-person hack and slash games, but perfectly implements them into the 2D environment. And talking of Golden Axe, it totally nails that mount mechanic. What I'm talking about is weird and wonderful creatures wandering onto the battlefield. Sometimes you will need to remove that rider, and they're not around forever, but it's a great nod to the genre. Let's talk about some of its roguelike elements, because some of you might be noticing an elemental attack coming from one of the players, and at the end of each bout or boss battle or sort of larger attack, you will be given a reward. And like the classic setup in other games of that model, you get a choice of which direction to go with on power up, and yes, that's re-rolled and randomized, so you can never guarantee what build you want to go for. You just sort of have to see an opportunity, buff up what you're given essentially. But you soon start learning what your favorite directions are, and you all receive a standard R2 like super move, but you can increase that intensity through the buffs at the end of the bouts, and you also get an L2 secondary which comes after a couple of runs. Let's talk about the run system, because essentially you're always starting from your hub, but you have different choices of direction. The nearest thing to this I've seen is Darkest Dungeon, when you're going left to right in a corridor, but that isn't represented in the overhead map. So there's all these different directions you can take on choice when you're going through your run that will put you in vastly different environments, but essentially lead you all to a singular boss. There's probably about 8 different routes to take to the end of phase 1. one boss, and it's up to you to sort of work out what the easiest or your favorite is, or which one goes via the most traders. It's a very clever system. It has you checking the map quite a lot though to make sure you're making the right decision when there's a fork in the road. But as a beat 'em up, it really adds this added angle of spice. It's incredible. Along with that reroll on the power up front, you're kind of never really having an identical game each time. That also goes down to the sort of minor enemies and additionals and secret areas and subquests that they've put within that first location. Let's talk about character differential, because this one's pretty amazing. You can unlock 3 pretty quickly. There are 4 in total, and it's great how not only are their R2 and L2 specials vastly different, but also their quick and large attacks. This definitely points to some synergy when you're having some tough areas, and that's the other thing, is the difficulty. You do not want to get hit in this game at all. You've got to do the first boss almost perfectly to be able to come out of that and keep going to the next phase of the run. But there are massive power-ups to be had, and the opportunity to replenish your health, and of course the classic trader will pop up here and there. Trinkets are a massive thing. You can stack those right up. Again, they are given sometimes as a reward at the end of a bout, but not always. That basic combat meta does appear a little bit simple on the face of it. You will find yourself hitting square a lot, but triangle is blended in with that setup to give you different combinations. You will open up different moves on those face buttons, so stuff changes on a day-to-day front with hitting square or triangle. This is in no way a button basher. It feels like it's re-rolling everything, because you go through that first location quite a lot. It understands that you don't want to see repeat enemies, and experimenting with the different rewards at the end of each fight makes you almost discover these like new builds that you wouldn't have thought about because you've been forced to use something that you're not used to.
How about you let me through this time?
I have a massive obsession with playing this game single player also, because it just feels like any other new, really good roguelike. All of that investment, all of those rewards are pumped back in. You never really come away from a run without getting something back. And that in turn helps with the local co-op, because your buddy might have a new character to play, or you might have opened up more cool new shortcuts, just like the classic ease of life adjustments that you see in any other indie roguelike of this nature. And this is one of the few bits of footage where we're not beating up loads of stuff, and we can see that background parallax. The detail and art just on the mundane objects is absolutely incredible, and there'll be different secrets, piles of leaves, skeleton bones, so you're always looking for things that appear to be out of place, or might even be a secret entrance to a whole new section of that map, which won't be highlighted to you until you discover it. That map, I think, is deliberately not layman, so that you are sort of asking yourself questions. What do the different symbols mean? Am I going in the right direction? How do I open up that shortcut? All of it feels perfect. Even the difficulty is bang on. I mentioned single player before. It does scale stuff up when you've got someone else with you. And I will say, you can't join the run halfway through. There has to be a hub joining session at the start, which is fair enough. The bosses, however, don't re-roll, but you could go to a location boss via a different route on that map and come across something you have never seen before. That one's quite common. You might also be thinking, this looks well hectic. How on earth do you know who you are, which one you are, whether you're beating up your mate or not? Is there any friendly fire, friendly slash? No is the answer. It's fine, you can just wail away. It does quite a good job with zoom out and giving you loads of room, but we both just found ourselves hyper focused on our character because taking a couple of hits in a row is disastrous. You need to be very much on the ball. Once you get that first biome switched out, you're kind of slack-jawed at how much has changed on what you're fighting, what the area looks like, how much more you've got to do, and of course the different elemental attacks start opening up. It's not just orange and blue. The reward choice becomes very different. This also goes for the mounts and of course the throwables, which we found one of the more amusing areas of the game, particularly the combustible explosive grenades. They end up throwing them at themselves. You can attack someone and get them to drop whatever they're about to cast in your direction, and then of course pick that up and sling it at a whole nother group of enemies. You also have a set amount of upgrades that you can put in at the hub itself, so you can go down an avenue of buffing up mounts or throwables. There is massive role-playing choice in this. I cannot believe this game is 20 quid and local co-op. So this is basically a perfect local co-op beat 'em up then, Coop. There's only one majorly minor complaint I would have with it, and that's the Western voice acting. The accents of everybody in this video game seem to be from alternate sides of the hemisphere. There's no rhythm or rhyme to it, and that takes the edge off its sword and sorcery fantasy universe for me.
I yield. I'm not going to die over small change.
Didn't actually check for any Japanese voice change on that, so that may not even be a thing. And again, as you all know, I have a weird thing with accents. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Sir Hans? Is this the best local co-op game of 2025? You should probably subscribe and click notification because that video is about to be produced. Don't forget we had Gears of Frickin' War, Savage Planet, Sonic Crossworlds Racer. I'm looking forward to it. My name was Couch Coop. I'll see you down there.
Our threads are intertwined.
What was that?